This is a great gateway drug to getting into multifamily. So I've
Yeah.
had a lot of clients, they start with raw land and then they build up their nest egg, they build up their confidence, and then they go into those bigger multifamily deals.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Real Estate Investor MBA. My name is Tejas Gosai, and I've had the honor of helping hundreds of investors achieve the American dream by creating generational wealth through real estate. I've spent the past few years interviewing the most knowledgeable experts I could find in the business to cut your learning time and conquer the hardest subjects in the game. Check out rei.mba, which my team and I have packed with over 75 interviews and free access to our real estate roadmap, webinars, and publications. If you're listening, I am rooting for you, and you're already on your way to financial freedom. Cheers and happy hunting. Guys, imagine that you could be sitting at your desk at home. You can buy a piece of land in Nevada or some other state far away, and you sit there and you purchase it, go through the whole process, you sell it, and you make a profit. And you've been doing all this while sitting at a desk. That is what our next guest has created an entire universe behind. He's a super smart dude. His name is Mark Podolsky, and he's referred to as the land nerd. And I love having nerds on the program. It's Real Estate Investor MBA. We have to be nerdy, right? But I get to pick the guests, and this guy's amazing, very inspirational, and it's eloquent. It's nice to hear him explain exactly what he does and how you can take part of it. So let me tell you about Mark. He's the owner of Frontier Properties, a reputable and successful land investing company. Mark has been buying and selling land full-time since 2001. He has completed over 5,000 land deals by focusing on working smart, not hard. His deals have an average return on investment of over 300% on cash flips and over 1,000% on the deals he sells with financing terms. Prior to his land investing success, Mark had a high-stress, soulless corporate job and felt trapped in his state of solo economic dependency. It's something you might relate to. Escaping solo economic dependency changed Mark's life in many positive ways that he decided to teach, coach, and mentor other people to do the same thing. He has a ton of books out there. He wrote a beautiful book called Dirt Rich: How One Ambitiously Lazy Geek Created Passive Income in Real Estate Without Renters, Renovation, and Rehab. Long title, but you get the gist. Everyone's always asking me, like, what's a simple way to get into real estate? Buying a 20-unit multifamily is not going to be your best out of the gate. Maybe a single family, so you can learn the ropes and then take it from there, build some wealth. Or you can do something like this. This gentleman is able to trade paper properties across the country and work with folks across the world to be able to execute this. It's really amazing. I'm excited for you to check it out. And I would love for you to see my website, rei.mba. Ton of podcasts. We have a real estate roadmap that makes it easy for you to figure out where you are in the journey. If you want to take the whole course, you start from not owning anything, packaging up your finances, go all the way through buying your first multifamily, asset management, syndicating deals, raising money, starting a private equity fund. I love what I get to do. I hope you all have a great day. Enjoy the interview. Cheers. Hey guys, we got Mark Podolsky here today. Mark, thanks for making it.
Tejas, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, we both have some interesting names. We're through all that. Mark, you're a busy man. We get to talk about land, my favorite topic that we have not discussed on this program. Real quick, I spent a lot of time developing hotels, medical office buildings, retail in my 20s. And in my life now, I'm a fund manager. Land is always the hardest thing to get. It's one of the more difficult assets to understand and invest in. So I'm very excited, Mark. Tell me about yourself and bring us up to speed.
Sure. So if you want to rewind the tape and just how I started in land, we can do that.
Please.
Then it's kind of colors out what about myself. So
That's
if we rewind to 2000, I was a miserable, micromanaged 45-minute commute to work and back investment banker, specializing in mergers and acquisitions with private equity groups. And Tejas, it got so bad for me. I didn't get the Sunday blues, anticipating Monday coming around. I'd get the Friday blues, anticipating the weekend going by really fast and having to be back at work on Monday. So my firm hires this guy, and he's telling me that it's a side hustle. He's buying up raw land, pennies on the dollar at tax deed auctions. He's flipping them online, and he's making a 300% return on his money.
Wow.
And I'm looking at companies all day long, and a great company, great, has 15% EBITDA margins or free cash flow. Average company's 10%. I'm looking at companies all day long, less than 10%. So of course, I don't believe him. I've got 3 grand saved up for car repairs. I go to New Mexico with him. I do exactly what he tells me to do. I buy 10 half-acre parcels, an average price of $300 each. I flip them online. They all sell for an average price of $1,200 each. It worked.
Wow.
So I went to another auction, and this is in Arizona where I live. And again, it's 2000. There's no one in the room. I'm buying up lots and acreage for nothing. So I sell all that land, and I made over $90,000 cash.
Wow.
So I go to my wife, and she's pregnant at the time. I said, honey, I'm going to quit my job and become a full-time land investor.
That
And she
sounds like
said,
a great idea.
yeah, she says, absolutely not. So I said, okay, okay. So it took me 18 months for the land investing income to exceed the investment banking income. And then I quit. I've done over 6,000 deals and counting. I absolutely love it. But for me, what I want people to realize about this niche is that this is a really interesting way to solve not your money problems, but also your time problems. And so once we create enough passive income where it exceeds your fixed expenses and you're working because you want to, not because you have to, life becomes so much more interesting.
I love it that you said that. That's the exact way to win Kiyosaki's cash flow game, right?
Right.
You just have to have that exact equation. Make sure that your passive income is higher than your expenses. That's great. So land, though, everyone thinks it's risky, right?
Y-
That's always the first thing. It's like land. I don't get it. So how do you get rid of the risk? I understand what you're saying in theory. Just being devil's
Yeah,
advocate.
yeah. So Tejas, where do you live? I'm going to use you as a case study.
Sure. Eastern Pennsylvania.
Eastern Pennsylvania. Okay, so I'm going to assume that you bought 5 acres of raw land in Colorado and you owe $200 in back taxes. So you're advertising two important things. I mean, number one, you have no emotional attachment to the raw land. You're in Pennsylvania, the property's in Colorado. Number two, you're financially distressed in some weird way because we don't pay for things like our property taxes. We don't value them in the same way. As a result, the county treasurer keeps sending you notices saying, Tejas, if you don't pay your property taxes, you're going to lose your property to a tax lien or a tax deed investor. So all I'm going to do is look at the comparable sales on your 5 acre parcel for the last 12 to 18 months. I'm going to take the lowest comparable sale. Let's say it's $10,000. And I'm going to divide by 4. And that's going to get me what Warren Buffett would call a 300% margin of safety. So I'm going to send you an actual offer of $2,500 on your 5 acre parcel. Well, for you, $2,500 is better than nothing. So you accept it. In reality, 3 to 5% of people will accept my quote unquote top dollar offer, but you accept it. But now that you've accepted it, I have to go through due diligence or in-depth research. I have
Fun.
to, I have to confirm you still own the property, that back taxes are only $200. There's been no breaks in the chain of title. There's no liens or encumbrances. I outsource all this to my team in Jamaica, who's actually plugged into an American title company. So it costs about $11. So they go through my property checklist. Let's say that everything works out. I send you a check for $2,300. Send the treasurer a check for $200. I own it free and clear. Now I'm going to sell this property 30 days or less. I'm going to make it cash flow like a rental home. So Tejas, I have a built-in best buyer. Do you know who it is?
Hmm.
The neighbors. The neighbors. So I'm going to send out neighbor letters saying, hey, here's your opportunity. Protect your privacy, protect your views, know your neighbor. Oftentimes the neighbors will buy. If they pass, I'll go to my buyers list. My buyers list passes. I'll go to a little website you may have heard of. It's called Craigslist. It's the 15th most trafficked website in the United States. I'll go to one I know you've heard of called Meta or Facebook, buy sell groups in the marketplace. And then I'll go to the lands, landmodo.com, landandfarm.com, landsofamerica.com, landflip.com, landhub.com. These are platforms where people buy and sell raw land. But the secret is in how I'm going to price it. So all I'm going to ask for is a $2,500 down payment for my buyer to control that 5-acre parcel of land. And then I'm just making a car payment. Let's say $287 a month at 9% interest for the next 84 months. So I have a one-time sale. I get my capital out on the down payment, but I could go 6 to 10 months out. And then I'm getting $287 a month for the next 84 months and 9% interest, no renters, no rehabs, no renovations, no rodents. And because I'm not dealing with a tenant, I'm exempt from Dodd-Frank, RESPA, and the SAFE Act, all this onerous real estate legislation. So then it's a simple game. Can I create enough land notes where my passive income exceeds my fixed expenses? And then I'm totally free.
Brilliant. You're eloquent too.
Thank you.
I understand some of that, a lot of that. How much volume? You need a lot of volume.
Well, let's just do the math. Okay, let's just say the average note's $200, right? So if you need $10,000 a month, passive income, you do a deal, one a week, right? 50 notes.
I like
Not
it.
not so bad.
Not so bad. I like it that you talked about the regulation part of it. I'm a commercial real estate agent. I have a bunch of great issues and I manage a fund and SEC, great stuff. So this
Yeah.
is really a way for anyone to get into this. This isn't a barrier of entry type thing. It's more of a barrier of education.
It's a barrier of education and it's also a barrier of mindset shift. So if we go to a RIA meeting and there's 100 people in that room, 99 of them are going to house flippers, landlords, and wholesalers. You and I would be the only land guys because everyone can wrap their head around the fact that we all need a place to live. Nobody needs a piece of raw land. That being said, 99% of what we have in our lives, we don't need. So just a very boring real estate niche. Like you're not going to go to HGTV or the DIY network and see flip this land, right? The before picture is raw land, the after picture is raw land. So that's why you haven't really had anyone like me on your show before because it's boring.
I like it. I see the Land Geek book behind you. It's perfect.
Yeah.
No, it is boring is where the money's at. Underwriting and being able to go find the right buyer and seller and tech. I love it that you're using folks overseas. We do the same thing for hunting down some of our inventory. We have a great team out of Thailand that has helped us for a while. So, how have you helped? Give me some of your folks that you've worked with that kind of started out small and then got bigger, or people that you've been working with for a while. You got any good case studies?
Yeah. I mean, Roberto Chavez comes to mind. When I met him, he was sort of a burnt out corporate lawyer working in El Paso. And so his first year, he brought his passive income to about $8,400 a month. His second year, he got it over to $14,000 a month. And he's like, okay, I don't have to work 5 days a week. I can go down to 3 days a week. His third year, he got to over 22,000 a month. And this year, he's over 30,000 a month. He's quit his job, and him and his wife are now traveling the world. And just, he's in his 30s. He's solved his money problems and he solved his time problems. He's basically retired. And just to be clear, I don't want anyone to build themselves another job. 90% of this business is automated with inexpensive virtual assistants and software. So really, once you build that machine, it's just cranking out the passive income every single
Yeah,
month.
taking care of it. How about some tax benefits, things like that? You have any?
Yeah, I mean, look, you multifamily guys like to just rub it in my face. All right. Now, I will say that there are no tax benefits because land lasts forever. We don't get depreciation.
Right.
However, if you are going to use a self-directed vehicle like a SEP or a Roth IRA, you can build up your retirement funds and supercharge them with these crazy returns in that fashion. But otherwise, there are no tax
Well, I
advantages.
mean, it's good though because it's just a different play. Everything has a
Right.
different. There's plenty of people that flip properties and sell them within a couple months and don't wait that 1 year period and all that.
Right. But I would say this is a great gateway drug to getting into multifamily. So I've
Yeah.
had a lot of clients, they start with raw land and then they build up their nest egg, they build up their confidence, and then they go into those bigger multifamily deals. And then they don't have to pay taxes like me, you know.
I got the whole world here. Where exactly do you tell folks to go? Is there, specific hot areas? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, let's just be honest. Nobody wakes up and thinks to themselves, boy, I'd like some raw land in Eastern Pennsylvania today, unless you live in Eastern Pennsylvania. So we want to focus on the sunshine states in the Southwest: Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Nevada, Texas, and then California, maybe a little bit in the Northwest, Oregon, Washington, Florida, some nice areas in the Midwest, maybe Missouri, Tennessee, where there's some more wooded land, North Carolina. Those are going to be the places where you get the biggest buyer pool. It's not to say that you can't do deals in Eastern Pennsylvania, but if you want your biggest buyer pool, and there's a plethora of inexpensive raw land, is in those areas.
So when you bring on a client, or are working with somebody, your system provides everything that they would need, or they have to go hunt a bunch themselves? How does that work?
You can always make more money, you can't get more time. So when we teach people how to do this, we really keep an eye on that. It's like, okay, what's the simplest way to do this to get a deal? So for the people who are listening to this, let's just get you your first deal. So we have a free course, and if they go to thelandgeek.com/quick deals, we'll teach them what we call a wholesaling model. So how to buy the property wholesale. So we completely eliminate getting a list, pricing a list, scrubbing a list, all those fun things. The due diligence piece, you just buy it wholesale, and then we teach you how to market it and sell it retail. And then once you get that money going, then you might invest in yourself and really go deeper into the model.
Love what you're saying. I'm a big proponent of outsourcing. I have been virtual and working with folks in Nigeria, India, and Thailand for a bit of time. How has that just taken your business through the roof? And how'd you build that out?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a team in the Philippines, we have a team in Jamaica, we've got virtual assistants, lots of different places. But it's and actually, I'm actually writing a book about this right now called Dirt Rich 2, how
Wait,
to
say that again? What's
Dirt Rich 2, how to scale your land business without missing a beat. And it really just talks about those 3 leverage points of other people's time, software and automation, and other people's money to scale a land business. But ultimately, once you start seeing that there's people who will do that task better than you and way more inexpensively than you, and you see yourself as a CEO, colors are more vibrant, food tastes better, and you really have total freedom. For example, I've got a 3-day work week, and I've been doing this for years. And Mondays and Fridays are just my thinking days. So I can really just let my mind wander and read and think and have that time to build the business instead of just constantly being in the business and meetings and those types of things.
Yeah, no, I love it. Financial freedom and creating generational wealth. That's always like the big thing we're doing in real estate, especially, if you're teaching other people, right? You want them to have that. How about clients that you have? Where are they? Are they all over the country?
Yeah, it's funny. We have them all over the world.
Hmm.
So even in English speaking places, we have clients in Germany too, but they speak English. So we have clients all over the world. As long as you have a virtual mailbox and you've given someone locally limited power of attorney to sign deeds, you can actually work this business anywhere in the world. Just have an inexpensive laptop and internet connection, give someone limited power of attorney, and you're good to go in a virtual mailbox.
Whole setups there. How many clients do you think you've helped usher into this world?
It's a good question. I mean, I've been teaching, I think, since 2011. So
Nice.
I would say hundreds, if not thousands.
Wow. Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So tell me, how do you stay motivated with all of this? Family, kids, friends, hobbies?
Yeah. I mean, there's no greater privilege to my mind than when to be able to change the trajectory of someone's life and bask in that gratitude when someone calls me or emails me. I use an app called Voxer. They'll Vox me, Mark, you've changed my life. I'm able to spend so much more time with my family now, or I'm able to replace my income. I've eliminated this big bucket of stress in my life called money, and to me, that's just keeps me motivated to really free people is the greatest privilege.
That's awesome, man. Love hearing that. So what do you say to a new investor that is nervous? There's so much in the market right now, and we got to talk about that. Inflation, interest rates. I know a lot of this may not apply to what you're talking about, but people are just timid and people don't know what's going on. How do you secure them, or how do you help some of these listeners get into the business or any business?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really what an entrepreneur is, right? I mean, if you got a W-2 job, you have certainty. Someone's gonna tell you what to do. This is your job, but you have a tremendous amount of risk because you've got one revenue stream, and there's so many things that's going on in the economy that you can't control, can't influence, and management calls up one day and says, "Hey, we're just gonna eliminate 10,000 jobs," and then you're off. So it's tremendous amount of risk to have a W-2 job, where an entrepreneur has to live with the uncertainty. They don't know when or how or what they're going to be doing as an entrepreneur. Things are just changing every day, but in exchange, they're going to get paid
Hmm.
and they're going to create different revenue streams. So we can go into different avenues in all types of real estate niches and investing. And if we talk about that cash flow quadrant, you have that business, and you go to the investor stage, and then you solve you solve that issue. So essentially, if you're going to have any type of wealth, you have to be able to live with uncertainty. Even the person with the W-2 job that's in the C-suite, they still have to live with the uncertainty that the stock is going to go up and down. And I think that for me, that's still financial insecurity. If if Tesla stock can lose half its value tomorrow and I'm a Tesla shareholder, I don't feel great about it. But if I've got, 200 different notes on different 200 different properties and one falls out, I'm not losing sleep. So once I've got all this passive income and this cash flow coming, I think that's the antidote to financial insecurity. But to your point, economically speaking, because we're paying cash for these properties, interest rates are not a factor for us. I would say unemployment is a bigger factor for us. So as unemployment rises, we find that we are able to get a better price on our land deals as sellers need to have cash that it may be more financially distressed. And it
Smart.
might take us a little bit longer to sell the property. But they've also, I mean, I've done this 6,000 times. I've never been stuck with a piece of property. There's literally
Mhm.
a pig for every barn.
That's amazing. Never is a big word.
I know. I know. It's nuts.
That's great. So, how about you specifically? How do you scale up in what you're doing?
So the way I scale up is I try to help everyone along the socioeconomic spectrum. And so we've now just started helping rich people become wealthy. And so, like you, we actually have like a fund, if you will,
Yeah,
that
please tell
that
me
help.
about
Well, I can't really tell you about it, but
it.
you have to be an accredited investor. So I
Yeah.
have to tell them one to one, essentially.
Okay, I got it. I have a fund, Reg D, accredited investors, similar stuff. Yours is probably Reg A,
No, it's Reg D.
is it?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I get it. There's some issues with talking about stuff like that, but
yeah.
you can tell me, is this the first time you're doing something like that?
Yeah, no, I've been doing it for several years now, but as we keep getting more capital, we're scaling our systems so we can like I kind of liken us to like Marty Bird from Ozark, and our investors are the cartel. So there's a tremendous amount of pressure to deploy capital into raw land. So it's different when it was just me and building that way as opposed to working with investors and having to do larger and larger deals to deploy
Yeah.
capital.
It is a funny world to be in as a fund manager. That's my like I'm just constantly burning for the next thing to buy and I'm always stressed about returns. Here, let me switch gears for a second. So, last big question. You've published a lot and you're very good at marketing, and I've seen your stuff. Um, how you're a master marketer. How do you guide some folks on the marketing part of this? You were able to build such a big universe, and a lot of people want to be able to do that.
It's such a good question. No one's ever really asked me that question. I think that I've just been consistent. When you think, I think of myself like Geico, right? 15 minutes will save you, 15% on car insurance. I just show up consistently, and I think over time, because I'm so consistent, people just know I'm gonna keep giving them value consistently, hopefully. And if they're not getting value, they just unsubscribe. So it's really easy. But
How big's your newsletter list?
not that big, maybe 20,000.
Okay, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I have the same theory. I'll add to that. Earlier this year, we switched from doing one newsletter every week to two newsletters a week, trying to force people out, or the new people, or the people that like it, to engage more, and it worked tremendously. I do think
Yeah.
social media and a lot of this stuff is necessary when you have a mission.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had Derek Sivers on my podcast, and we were talking about marketing, and he had this great line. He's like, "Marketing is just being considerate, and it's just being considerate to the person that you're trying to help." And that's really, I think, a great sort of pithy way of saying it.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So how does somebody get a hold of you? How do they join the mission?
Yeah, I think the best place to go is just thelandgeek.com. Thelandgeek.com. And again, they can start for free. Thelandgeek.com/quick deals. Thelandgeek.com/quick deals.
Awesome. I love it. Everything's in the show notes. Mark, I can't thank you enough. First big land guy we've had. I appreciate your time.
Tejas, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Definitely. That's Mark. We have everything in the show notes to get a hold of him. And we love all our guests. We have a bunch more coming on soon. It's our new season of the podcast. So we'll keep you on the lookout. Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, rei.mba is our website. We have a bunch of tools as well. We like people like Mark. Mark, thanks for being here.
Tejas, again, my pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Cheers, guys. Take care.